This week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Head on over to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast and subscribe today. Fans, founders, and insiders like you help us keep the Run, Eat, Drink podcast going, and we thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Jeff Galloway, and you are listening to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Welcome to the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We feature destination races from across the country, and after the race, we take you on a tour of the best local food and beverage to celebrate. So whether you are an elite runner or a back of the packer like us, you'll know the best places to accomplish, explore, and indulge on your next runcation. Hey, welcome to episode 189 of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
It's back, baby.
We are back. It is back.
It is back.
It is the Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend
2021.
And we are covering it on this week's show. We're not covering the whole thing.
Part of it.
Part of it. This is not our first race that we've gone back to traveling and going to by any stretch, but for some reason, this felt like a homecoming.
Everybody who listens to the show knows our first major race was, hey, let's spend like a whole day in an airplane to get to Alaska to run that race back live. And it felt like a homecoming. But this also felt, you are right, very much like a homecoming.
Yeah, we have a special affinity for Run Disney, of course, yes. This being one of the first races that we ever did. But yeah, getting back to it, getting back out there, and we're going to be talking all about the 5K specifically this week. And I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but we're just so excited to be covering this race finally and getting to share that with all of you. And of course, if we're doing a Run Disney race, especially the Wine and Dine, you know we're going to have some killer food and drink to go along with it.
Of course.
So we do have a bunch of great stuff coming to you guys this week on the show from the Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend and the Walt Disney World or Epcot Food and Wine Festival 2021.
Yes. And it's not like the taste of. None of the branding said the taste of. It was 2021 Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. Yes.
I didn't even notice that.
It's all in the pictures.
That didn't even register for me. I'm literally sitting here with I'm slack-jawed, and she's showing me a photo. You're absolutely right. It was, like we said, it was back. And it didn't even dawn on me to look for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's great.
It is great.
It feels good.
So, yes, that's what you got to look forward to on this week's show. But first, we do have some shout-outs.
Some serious shout-outs.
Yes, very serious shout-outs.
First of all, Jessica, as in Harley Running Gal on Instagram, and JoJo, Positively Polly1 on Instagram, they ran in Savannah this past weekend. They did the half marathon despite the marathon being canceled.
Yes, the marathon, as I understand, was canceled due to inclement weather. And that is going to factor in somewhat to our coverage of the show because they were experiencing the same cold front we were experiencing.
We were all in it together virtually.
Yes.
Sort of. Yes.
They just experienced it first, being a little bit north of us.
True enough. Very true. They both completed the Savannah Rock and Roll half marathon, and JoJo decked out as the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk for St. Jude.
That was such a cute costume. I saw photos on social media. What a great way to represent the green and the purple, and just
it was fantastic. Great. It made me think of my love for the Incredible Hulk and Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, you're going old school.
back in my childhood.
Everybody goes, I love Bill Bixby, or they go, I love Mark Ruffalo, and there's a couple of them that tend to get left out. No one's yearning for the Eric Bana days. No one's really loving on the Ed Norton Hulk.
No.
I mean, just saying.
I understand I appreciate their takes on the characters, but those were not my favorite interpretations. No. Clearly.
But that's not all. We do have a bunch more of you from the Runcation Nation out there running and doing some amazing stuff.
Susie, she is just totally killing it. She did the historic Drawbridge half.
And Fun Size Jen and James Miller, who is also known as James Miller Loves to Run.
Oh, yeah.
Did the OC Orange Crush 5K and half.
And they got a bonus medal. So it was like the challenge. And Jen was at Disneyland to do medal pictures, and she took them in Cars Land and posted on Instagram, and James posted his pictures on Instagram, which just was great to see that too.
It really was.
And there were, I don't even know, we could probably take up the whole show with members of the Runcation Nation who joined us this past weekend at the Wine and Dine half marathon weekend.
Yep, we had Robert Ontiverios and family.
We had Meg and Brian. We had of Main Street Miles, Meg.
Anna Runs on Coffee.
We didn't see him actually, but we had of Be Our Guest podcast fame, Mr. Mike Rallman.
And many more. We tried to catch as many of y'all on social media as we could if we couldn't catch you in person. Congratulations. I thought it felt so good to be back.
Yes, it's true. And we scour social media for everybody and anybody that we can shout out. If you specifically want to shout out, because we tend to miss things. We're 24 hours in a day and day jobs and
life
in general. So we don't ever mean to leave anybody out. So everybody who was at Wine and Dine, congratulations. And if you specifically want us to shout you out on the show,
or know somebody who should be shouted out.
Yes, if you're shy, you don't want to shout yourself out, but you want to celebrate someone else, email us at info@runeatdrink.net.
That's info@runeatdrink.net.
Yes. Or you could call and leave us a message at 941-677-2733.
941-677-2733.
And now on with the show.
Indeed. Let's talk running.
Oh, the 5K. It's something we haven't done it this weekend ever.
No, this was a first for us. Mm-hmm. The only other 5K, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, our only other 5K at a Run Disney event at all was the Spider-Man 5K out in California, if I'm not correct.
Do you count the Expedition Everest 5K? Do you count that one, that nighttime race that they're bringing back with the springtime surprise? Because we did that several years.
Well, we've done that. Yeah, we did that one for several years. I don't count that one because it's such an oddball event.
It stands on its own. It's not part of a bigger weekend, like a bigger weekend of distances, I should say. Marathon weekend or Princess or Wine and Dine or any of the California races that have sadly been retired.
Yeah, and that was what I was meaning by that. We've never done any of those other than Spider-Man. Expedition Everest aside.
Right.
Because it's its own thing. Because Expedition Everest 5K is a 5K event plus a scavenger hunt.
Which is super cool. And I'm like, Run Disney. Oh, registration's in December. I don't know.
I know.
I don't know what I was going to say. Do you remember the Dick's Sporting Goods 5K?
Oh, you know what?
Before the podcast even started.
You're okay. Yes, that was just like this one year, one-off oddball race that they
in Hollywood Studios.
At Hollywood Studios. We did do that one.
And the expo was entirely outdoors.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. Okay, it's not our only 5K.
So it wasn't.
But again, not part of a larger race weekend. So aside from these weird oddball 5Ks, we've never done any Run Disney 5Ks.
That's true. Yeah.
But we did this one.
We did this one live.
We did. And there's so much to talk about. Let's kind of recap, and then we do have some audio that we recorded live from the course we want to share with everybody as well. But let's talk about the expo a little bit.
The expo, it was broken down very similarly to what it had been in the past in terms of your bib pickup being in one building at ESPN Wide World of Sports, and then your T-shirt and expo goodies and the actual expo floor being in another building.
And then the merchandise
merch
being in a separate building.
A third location, which I think is good to space out crowds.
It was very good for traffic flow.
Yeah.
That was very good. The entire weekend, Friday and Saturday, terrible weather.
Yeah.
Thursday was no picnic either, really, but Friday and Saturday, not great weather down here in Florida, and more on that when we talk about getting our stuff and then heading to the car from the expo. But plenty of stuff on the floor, not the most crowded or the most exhibitors we've ever seen. So I would say it was a little bit scaled back.
Yeah. We've been there in years past where you had 3 different long rows in that whole building of booth to booth to booth to booth to booth.
Yes.
And it was on either side of that whole lane. And then in the middle on either side. And then on the other side, it was 2 facing expo booths.
Yep.
All the way down the row.
With big makeshift retail setup for like New Balance.
And
we've
to try on
with the try-ons.
clothing.
Yes.
Too.
This was not quite that. They did have a large retail presence from Fit to Run.
Yes.
They did have some new sponsors and some returning sponsors. They did have some new
booths.
stuff. Expo booths. They had the bone conduction headphones. The
Aftershocks.
Aftershocks was a big sponsor. They also had some new merchandise there in terms of there were some heating pads that that use a chemical reaction to generate heat, like chemical heat warmers, but larger.
Yeah.
They had
like those hand warmers some people have.
Yes.
Yeah.
They had another booth that had a massage gun that is a new sponsor to the event, or a new exhibitor in the expo. Excuse me, not a sponsor.
Yeah.
Add a Day, I believe, is what it's called.
Yes.
So there was some new stuff there. I thought it was a very well-stocked expo, even though it didn't have as much as it did in the past. I thought that it had
you
quite
could
a
still
lot.
pick up things if you forgot them. Compression sleeves.
Tons of that.
There were places to get socks and gels and skirts and shirts and but Boulder, who we love.
Boulder Athletic.
They were there, but it was just a smaller presence.
Yes.
A smaller presence. And I think that maybe Run Disney went a little conservative in the number of exhibitors they were going to allow on the floor and the size of the booths they were going to allow on the floor. If I had to guess, I'm not
We don't have
in
insider
the ear.
info.
Yeah, I don't know. But I'm just thinking, this is our first one back. This is our first, let's roll out slowly.
Agreed.
And make sure everything is going to be the way we want it to be as we ramp the events back up.
Yeah. Now, Jeff Galloway.
He was there.
Yeah. And returned for the event. He was on the floor as an exhibitor. And he was, I believe he came out to the half.
He did.
But
he said he was going to,
He didn't run it.
No.
What was absent was the speaker series. I didn't see anything at all. They didn't have anything set up in the speaker area on the second floor. They did, however, have the cafeteria area, and that ESPN cafeteria area that was wide open. That was open for business.
Yes.
And they were rocking and rolling. Plenty of people dining.
And Impossible had a booth, and they had Impossible entrees up there in that whole restaurant cafeteria area where we've eaten pasta.
Yes.
Pre-race before.
Yeah, that looked like new offerings.
Like tacos and pasta I wanted to try them.
I was curious to see how the food offerings changed now that
Yeah.
Impossible was actually being offered as a food option or an ingredient.
Awesome. It was awesome.
And some of their stuff. And they
Looked
actually
awesome.
had one of the bigger exhibitor booths. They also had a new exhibitor there called Athletic Brewing Company. We're going to be talking about them on an upcoming episode.
Yay.
And you may see some information about them in an upcoming live. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see the crowd in there. The thing that you had to remember was in inside spaces, you had to wear a mask.
Yes.
Other than that, there was no other precautions that they were really enforcing or taking. So the social distancing was not really a thing. People were milling about and just putting their masks on.
Yeah.
Seemed like business was pretty brisk on the floor. I didn't really feel like it was poorly attended from what we saw.
It was very well attended.
It felt, I would say it felt like 90% normal.
Yeah.
The only thing odd was the lack of the speaker series and the having to wear masks.
Yeah, and lack of the speaker series also meant lack of the tables that were set up for people to make signs.
Yes. Yeah.
As well. So cheer squads. Cheer.
Yes.
Squads.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the shirts, they are the same, very similar material as the ones at the very last race we attended. That same material.
Yeah, it's the shirts. The race shirts are, of course, a moisture wicking material.
Yeah.
This is not the same vendor that they've used in years past. They've gone away from, I believe it was Champion was their,
I think so.
one of their original shirt vendors that they used. I don't know who the company is now. In fact, I know one of the shirts actually had Nightmare Before Christmas branding in the tag. It didn't actually have, I couldn't see a company. The shirt fit was a little better than I think the previous race that we went to in terms of size being true to size. For me, I thought that the fit and finish of the shirts was not the best it's been in years past.
I think it was a little itchy for me.
Yeah, this is they have had better material. So
And I hate to say that. It was a bright color for the 5K.
the 5K was like a goldenrod yellow color.
So it's a nice.
You're not a yellow fan, as we're gonna hear in the audio from the race course.
It's nice for visibility.
Yes,
but I don't really. It's not my color.
Yeah, and then of course I mentioned Nightmare Before Christmas. So we're going to talk about in the 10K shirts and the half marathon shirts.
Oh yeah,
they gravitated more towards stuff from Nightmare Before Christmas. Oogie Boogie was one of the other villains, and Jack Skellington.
Yeah, and for the 5K, it's the Evil Queen.
Yes,
and I loved that. I loved that. So nice choice of villain for the 5K.
Absolutely. So let's talk, speaking of 5K, let's talk about the course, the strategy, and this. We've already started talking about swag a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Of course, the when you go for packet pickup, you get the bib. Mm-hmm. I think the bibs were gorgeous.
Yes.
Full color. You can't.
They're
complain.
made of that material that's going to make it through the race.
And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it was a wet race.
It was
this year.
It was.
Any other swag in the bag that you could think of? I mean, really the same exact pickup as normal. You go, you get your packet, then you go into the expo hall to get your shirts, and then they give you the big plastic bag with the drawstring.
And then people were giving away things that you could put in the bag, but the bags just the bags
the
were,
shirts.
yeah, and so you could house the shirt in the bib.
So let's talk about the course.
Oh,
break it down for everybody.
Oh, I know that we do that on the live recording that we did.
Yeah.
On the 5K. But I would say you got to park. Oh, the parking situation or the bus situation would take you straight to Epcot.
Yeah.
And that is the start and finish.
This is the only one where you park and you park at where you start and finish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you don't have to get bused to a different location.
Yeah. So that was
because it's a
nice.
shorter distance, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it's basically a parking lot lap and then a lap around the World Showcase. That's
Indeed.
a little bit expanded, and we're going to talk about that in the live audio from the course. We did have a good bit of rain. There was a cold front moving through Friday and Saturday. We got temperatures down into the 50s.
We did.
Down here, which is chilly for Florida.
My goodness.
And when coupled with the rain, that made for a pretty uncomfortable run, and then the wind on top of that.
Cold and wet.
But it wasn't quite as bad. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, the race up in Savannah was canceled due to concerns over people getting
the marathon.
The marathon was canceled over concerns of people getting hypothermia.
Yeah.
So, pretty rough there. So we had it bad. They had it worse.
Yeah.
But I think we ought to let people hear us talk about scenes and sights and sounds from the race course. What do you think?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, here we are, coming to you live from the 5K.
Hey, Runcation Nation, it's Dana and Amy from the Runny Drink Podcast.
At runnydrink.net.
And we are coming to you live from the race course at the Epcot Wine and Dine 2021 5K.
Yes. The villain of choice is the Evil Queen.
That's the theme of the race.
Yeah.
With your favorite shirt today.
No.
Today's
false.
the race shirts are yellow for the 5K.
I don't like yellow.
Amy's not a fan.
I'm not saying, if you like yellow, more power to you. It's just not my color.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we are coming up on mile 1. And
Let's ring the weather bell.
yeah, ding ding. It's raining as we speak.
Yeah.
We are
runners.
everybody's out here in ponchos. We are wearing some custom made
They are.
rain ponchos, disposable rain ponchos.
So fancy.
They're custom fitted as well because these were trash bags that we got from janitorial at the Hilton
At 3 in the morning.
at 3 in the morning. And kids just elbow checked Amy as they were
Sorry.
running past her. So, yeah, what do you think so far? First mile.
Okay, well, the start was great. Carissa was great. She was dressed up as the Evil Queen. Her sidekicks were, she makes it. Let's just be
She's the personality.
serious. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is. So the start was great. The fireworks were mini. Mini.
Mini, M-I-N-I, not
Yeah.
M-A-N-Y.
Right. And I don't know if that's because of the rain or because of
The number of
because they
waves
want
they're
to
doing.
or because they want to ramp up to the half
True.
with bigger ones, depending. So, or maybe a combination of all three. I don't know. But
Yeah, the fireworks were basically like 6 or 8 Roman candles going off,
yeah,
and that was it.
yeah. So, this first mile is just around the parking lot at Epcot. So, I think it's a good time for people to kind of find their stride. Of course, the first mile is always a liar, so
Yes.
it's good not to have maybe the uneven terrain of a park right off the bat.
Also true. Yeah, this is all parking lot and taking us through the construction or the staging for construction behind the new attraction they're building over by Test Track.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
and there are 2 minutes between waves.
Yes, they're doing 2 minutes between waves or starts or whatever they're calling them.
So yeah.
And they did a total of 3 corrals. And
Were
then
there just 3?
just 3 corrals.
And then they broke each corral.
Yeah.
They're numbered instead of lettered.
Yeah.
And they have
Minor differences from, previous ones, but
And we're coming up on the first character stop.
yeah, first character stop is before mile 1, and you've got a nice line of people doing it.
Yeah, because we're not quite. When you said we were almost to mile 1,
And it's like a spooky tree and
it's not actually a character.
it's more of a vignette, I guess. But yeah, some of these costumes out here are just fantastic. I do feel for people.
What did you say?
They're fantastic, but I feel for people who wore really absorbent costumes
Well,
or a lot of
less
like,
than moisture wicking or...
yeah, or face paint because it's not storming right now, but it's steady drizzle
very.
Yeah, it's just rainy enough to keep you from being comfortable.
And we don't have thunder and lightning, so that's good.
That is good.
So,
We've been at Run Disney races where that's happened.
yeah.
That was a special run. So we'll give you guys an update as we head into the World Showcase and around. So we'll be back. Okay, so we are now coming into the World Showcase. We've gone kind of around behind the scenes, seeing the electrical plant here for Epcot from Reedy Creek Electrical Services. And as we enter the World Showcase, we're coming right on the side of the big Mexican temple, the ziggurat. And if you ever go over like next to the temple for what used to be the character stop for character photos, and we are on the World Showcase as we speak. We've already passed mile 1, and this is the part, I think, and I'm talking too much, so Amy will chime in. This is the part.
I just couldn't see. It was really dark.
It is. It's dark out here, but it's really like, I mean, the path is dark, but the place is lit up. It's gorgeous. So it's like running in Epcot at night right now. What do you think, Amy?
It's beautiful. I love what they have out on the water that say the 50th for the little stages for fixtures out there in the water for the 50th anniversary. And I love that the countries are all lit up. Like you can see, you know, when you can tell it's the UK, you can tell, you know, France. It's
Iceland,
beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so right now we're heading towards China.
And it does remind me of a nighttime race here, the way it used to be.
Well, with them doing the 5 a.m. start, I mean, and they were literally on the dot 5 a.m. with the start today.
Yeah. I mean, the chair athletes went a little bit before that, and I was glad.
Yeah.
With the rain and everything, I'm sure it's challenging.
Oh, I'm sure. And you know, we always joke, we're like, yeah, they're done with their 5K by the time we get to the start line.
Be really careful this morning.
Yeah, I hope that the race course, I hope that the conditions were good for them. So it looks like Genghis Khan, or character from Mulan, is another character stop they have here. I haven't seen Mulan, so I can't really speak with any authority on the characters.
I don't know either.
So, all right, well, we'll check in at mile 2, everybody. Quick check-in. We are at the first and I believe the only water stop for the race, and it's just before mile 2. And it is the only water stop, confirmed. And we are behind, we're in the backstage area behind Morocco. The volunteers have been amazing. Getting a chance to get back out here and do this. I think they're as excited to be volunteering as we are to be running.
Sorry, I was drinking water.
The Skyliner's running.
Yeah.
So they're probably doing the pre-park opening testing to make sure everything's good.
I'm sure. Well, my question would be, of course, we didn't stay on property, but I don't know if the Skyliner ran anybody.
I doubt it.
Pretzels.
Oh, I do too.
It smells amazing.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the back of
Remy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're coming in. It looks like we're coming back in by France, and we're behind the new Remy ride, the Ratatouille. Remy's something or another.
I don't know.
Again, we're a Disney adjacent podcast. We're not a Disney podcast. Mark.
We do our best.
Mark Valentine's probably just shaking his head. He's gonna pull my Disney card. All right, so we'll check back in after mile 2. Okay, so post mile 2 check-in, Aim.
Well, we're here between France and the UK, or, you know, England, if you will. I can't do an accent, you know what I'm saying to you. There was a water stop before we entered back into the World Showcase at Remy's. And there was a little congestion right there at a character stop.
Yeah, that takes you back into a section of France I didn't even know existed.
Right in France, yeah. It was a narrow part of the course.
Very.
So, yeah. Lots of photographers.
Yes.
I'll say that. I don't know how they're going to be able to tell in all these ponchos who we are.
That's going to make it's going to be a challenge for the AI to do the automatic number detection.
Well, I don't even know if through our fabulous clear plastic garbage bags how they're going to be able to tell for us. But
we're going to look into offering rolls of disposable Run Eat Drink podcast ponchos.
It's a new thing. Who knew that we could, find an idea for more merch on the website like that. But I don't know. It's we've come in and out of the World Showcase.
Yeah, like right now we're walking. What's this called? The World Gateway or Gateway to the World?
The International Gateway.
International Gateway.
Yeah.
By the Skyliner station.
Yeah.
So we're actually heading out towards the
Epcot Resort area.
Yeah, over at the boardwalk.
Yeah. So.
But then
Yacht Club.
But then once you get out here, you make an immediate right to go back into the park.
Yeah. So we don't. And I haven't even looked at the 10K course, so I don't know if we get there or not.
So what they're basically doing is just adding a little bit of distance.
Yeah. We're kind of weaving in and out of the World Showcase. And I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, you're certainly seeing parts of the park
that you didn't before.
Exactly, it's new. So I like that. I mean, we've been through this part right here. This is normally how you enter the World Showcase during the half marathon.
The way we just came from the birth. So it's definitely different.
I would say the only thing that people looking to do this one might want to watch out for on inclement weather days like this. The surfaces can be
really slick,
a little tricky in certain areas. Yeah.
I'm just trying to be super careful.
And as well lit as the park is, there are areas where the path itself is not very well lit.
So like your smartphone flashlight is a good thing.
That is a very good idea.
In places where you can't really see as you're coming in and out of the World Showcase, those are kind of dark areas.
Yeah, I would say this absolutely would not warrant a headlamp of any kind.
Oh no.
But your
Why
smartphone.
would you want that in your photos too?
Yeah, your smartphone's pro.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll check in after mile 3 or at the end. Mile 3 check-in.
Yeah?
Talk to us, Aim.
Well, we're backstage. We're somewhere backstage.
We're literally right by the Guardians of the Galaxy construction site.
Yeah. So.
And we're heading out to the parking lot to the finish line.
We are. So this part looks familiar. What can I say? I'm soaked. I'm so sorry. I've watched this entire thing. I don't know. I wish the weather had been better.
Agreed.
Yeah. And the course is kind of like in and out of the park. So that was interesting.
We're taking a selfie at mile 3. So, never mind that licensed music you hear playing in the background. That is not us. So, break it down. We can see the finish line. We're here. I mean, we're literally like 100 yards away. 100 yards away. And they still have you snaking through like sidewalks. It's this is a kind of an odd placement of the path to the finish line, but all in all, it's good to be back, I think.
Yeah.
All right, let's go cross this finish line.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've crossed the finish line. We have our, watch your step. We have our medals, we have our bottles of water, and we are walking back out to the pre-race party area.
Oh boy.
Aim, give us your final thoughts on the race.
It was wet. It was dark. It was rainy. It was great to be back. So all of those things, all at once. That's how I feel about this particular Run Disney race, this comeback. It's a villain's theme. So a villain, or several villains, conspired to give us an evil course.
It did indeed. Now, they have changed things up a little bit. They've moved where the snack boxes are handed out.
Okay.
And the bananas, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's not a Disney race until you have a snack box and a banana. And we're gonna head out to the party area. We'll break down what's in the Run Disney box this year. Just so everybody is aware. I mean,
Can we eat all this?
I doubt it. I'm sure that there's gonna be some non-plant-based stuff in here, but we'll give it a shot. I do like the fact that they have a big refrigerated truck with Dole on the side, so you know the bananas are fresh.
Yeah. I wish that it was full of Dole Whip so we could, have that.
Post-race Dole Whip.
Yeah.
One nice thing, you finish the race, you come out here. They actually have, a really great setup for gear check if you want to do your gear check. They also have post-race beverages out here, so you can get Playa Linda beer, and we'll have to go check and see what other offerings they have.
Yeah.
Photo opportunity. It's a nice area, and if you weren't able to get your photo beforehand, you can do that. And of course, you can do your post-race porta potty run. So, there's plenty to offer out here. My thoughts on the race as we are going to finish this out for this segment of the show is that it was a lot of fun. This was a quintessential Run Disney event. They can't help the rain, but they did the best that they could given the conditions, and it is phenomenal to be back, to see the sights, to see the characters, the costumes, your fellow runners. Everything just screamed good time, Disney magic, and we are thrilled that Run Disney is back. So with that finishes up our run segment of the show. It's time to go get something to eat.
So right as you ended the recording, we were out at the finish area, the porta potties, or that's not the fancy word for them, I'm sure.
That's
whatever.
Well, if you're at a Renaissance festival, it's the privies.
Okay, we were out at the privies. And thank you, Mr. Vocabulary, for that. I like that better. We were out at the privies, and I was having my post-race banana from the box, which was back, and had the tortilla chips, the cheese, sunflower seeds, and goldfish graham crackers. So I was enjoying the banana while you were taking your turn with in the privies. And I all of a sudden hear coming up from behind me, I'm so fangirling right now. And I turn around and I'm thinking she's got a mistaken me for someone else. I don't know. Maybe it's the hair, the tuft of curls. I don't know.
Those are hard to mistake.
She says, can I get a picture with you? I listened to your podcast and you helped me get through the pandemic. And her name was Holly. And it was such a great moment.
Almost made you cry.
I couldn't. I was speechless. I wanted to ask her, how did you find us during the pandemic? Because I always want to know how we can reach more people with our show and grow our Runcation Nation. but her husband came out, and we were all talking about the race and the run, and they had come up and they had stayed the whole week prior. And
what a great way to
done the parks.
That's the way to do it.
And that's the way to cap it off, do the 5K and then head home. And we got the picture with them, which is a part of the episode artwork. And it was a great experience. I don't know another time at the finish of a race where we've been recognized for the show.
No, and I think for me,
by a complete stranger, not a meetup.
And for me, I think hearing somebody say that we helped them get through the pandemic with the show, I think that was probably one of the best birthday presents for the weekend that I could have gotten. And we do this as, a labor of love, and we like sharing with people and connecting with people, and to know that we may have helped somebody in some small way.
Yeah.
And her husband was very kind and saying the same thing. He goes, yeah, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you.
Yeah. I don't know if you meant that as good or bad after that rain.
Oh, I know.
And the run and the cold.
Were all soaked and freezing, but it was just a great moment. So Holly, thank you very much. Yeah. Reach out to us, message us on social. We want to make sure that we connect, and just thank you for taking the time to come up to us and say hi. I think that was a lot. That was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So, like we always say,
yes,
after a run, we work up quite an appetite.
We do.
Now, we're going to break down the contents of the snack box, because the snack box is back,
really?
baby. We are.
Are you serious?
I am totally serious.
Okay.
We've got that. We recorded that live as well.
People, ladies and gentlemen, this is a supersized episode. Just want you to know.
We're going to break down the contents of that, and then we're going to take you on a tour of the 2021 Epcot International Food and Wine Festival.
Yes, because we got to experience some great vegan, or what they call plant-based options.
So we toured the World Showcase. We sought out some amazing food options that happen to be plant-based.
Yes.
The stuff that we're going to tell you about, you will love, whether you're a plant-based eater or not.
I think so.
And I'm excited to bring all of this to you. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited about the snack box.
Okay.
Let's go with the hot takes from the 2021 Epcot Food and Wine Festival.
Okay, Runcation Nation, we are here at the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, and we are at Earth Eats. Earth Eats. This is, as you're entering the World Showcase, kind of on the left-hand side over by the land, and this is the kiosk that has all of the impossible options, right, Aim?
Yes. They added a new option this year, but we opted for the Impossible Burger Slider.
Yes.
So we have the Impossible Burger Slider, although there is a chili option as well.
3-bean chili. It's a little warm for 3-bean chili still. It's almost pushing 90 degrees out here right now. It's beautiful, but it's warm.
And they have spiced apple Twinnings.
Yeah, Twinnings tea.
Of London chai tea. And you can get it with or without alcohol, and we're opting without.
Uh-huh.
And it's served with a cinnamon stick.
One more option.
Ooh, it's very cinnamony, and it is sweet.
It is sweet. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, that actually reminds me almost of an apple cider.
Yeah.
And
it's iced.
Yeah, it's think of making an apple cider Arnold Palmer, basically, without alcohol.
Do you get the lemon?
No, but I mean, instead of lemonade, you're doing apple cider and tea.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that reminds me of.
Yeah.
So,
I like it.
Now, the burger slider itself is kind of an Asian twist. This has a wasabi cream and a spicy slaw topping the burger, and it is a little handheld burger. It's adorable. You just took a bite. What do you think?
Right away, I get the wasabi. A lot of, and it's not tickling your nose kind of wasabi where you can't really you're like, oh, I'm gonna get like, you know how you get,
It's not going to clear your sinuses.
yeah, or you know how you get like a brain freeze from a, it's not like that. It's subtle, but it's the first flavor that I pick up. And then the bread and the burger and the arugula, the spiciness of the arugula.
I'm also really enjoying the slaw. The slaw is, you know, this is like I want to say it's a cabbage and, well, I think it's just exclusively like cabbage, carrot, like a traditional slaw, but it's got like an Asian dressing on it.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Maybe a little bit of soy, a little bit of ginger kind of thing happening
Yeah, I
there.
get ginger.
But the burger, again, they've done such a great job. These burgers, if you just handed me this, I would never know it's an Impossible Burger.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, yay. So, they've cooked it well. That's the testament
Yeah.
to the burger.
Absolutely. This is a nice bite. This one comes in right at $6.
Is that a poblano or is that a green pepper?
It's some sort, and it's in the slaw. It's some sort, maybe like a bell pepper.
Maybe it's a bell pepper, yeah. I don't get a whole lot of heat
Very
or spice.
finely julienne.
I really like this. I would do it again.
100%. This is fantastic. I would actually do an entire like full-size burger prepared like this.
And I like that they chose a thicker sesame seed bun
I was going to say, this bun is great.
because then all the nice flavors and toppings don't slide out of the burger.
Exactly. Great pick. Come over here to Earth Eats.
Very nice.
It's a weird name with a great menu. Okay, Runcation Nation, we are working our way around the Epcot Food and Wine Festival 2021, and we have stopped off at a relative newcomer called the Noodle Exchange. This is a new addition to the Food and Wine Festival. Established 2021 is what it says on the sign. And we are actually having pho. This is kind of a cool spot. It's like a little noodle house, and they are rocking and rolling. I mean, they're cranking out tons of food here.
Seriously.
They've got a traditional Vietnamese beef pho. They've got a char siu pork udon. They've got shrimp and coconut curry rice noodles.
But those are so good.
And they're gorgeous, but what we opted for was the plant-based option, which is the tofu pho with enoki mushrooms and Thai basil. And this is beautiful.
It is beautiful. You can see the peppers, or the rings of red peppers. I think those are Fresnos. That's what they look like without tasting it first. How's the broth?
The broth has got a spicy kick to it. It's got a nice, rich umami flavor and a hint of tartness to it, which I think is really pleasant.
But it also has an earthiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really good. I love pho anyway, and I'm also a big fan of Thai flavors. So when you start talking Thai basil and spice and all, you can't beat it. The enoki mushrooms, I think, are probably my favorite bit of this dish, though. I love them. I mean,
They're tiny.
Yeah, these are the long stemmed mushrooms with a tiny cap.
Yeah.
They're very often used in stir fries. You see them a lot in noodle houses and in dishes like this, and they have a nice mild earthiness to them, almost a meatiness.
Yeah.
But this broth's got some kick. This is no joke.
Yeah. Well, it looked like sriracha
A little dollop.
of hot sauce. I don't know if it's sriracha. I didn't ask, but
Yeah.
but I think everything together and the chilies. I think if you get the tofu is plain on its own.
Yes.
I think,
Tofu is unremarkable.
yeah.
The broth. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go.
The broth, though, I'm loving the broth. But what were you going to say about the tofu?
Tofu tends to take on, in a soup. I think if you can create the perfect bite, this is like a perfect bite scenario. You can have a little bit of the pepper, a little bit of the mushroom, a little bit of the noodle and broth with the tofu. then it creates a hearty bite, and that's what the tofu is there for.
What do you think of the noodles?
The noodles are, well,
I haven't had them yet.
they're cooked perfectly, I think.
These are like a flat rice noodle, a thin flat rice noodle.
Yeah, actually they're like al dente,
Oh, you're right.
which I think is perfect.
Yeah, this is really nice.
It has some spice if you like spice. And you like the earthiness of mushrooms and yeah.
And you're looking for a plant-based option. I would love to taste my way down this menu. Everything that they have on their menu is something that I would order on a day out where we stop by a noodle house.
Yeah, this would be, this is great. I'm sure the other dishes are quite delightful that are that have meat, shrimp, chicken.
And I also think for the size of the portion you're getting here, this might be one of the best values here at
$5.50. The only thing I can say is, it's Florida, it's a warm day. You might not be in the mood for soup, so it may not be the first plant-based option you would go for.
Agreed.
Now, if you come to the festival on a cooler day or a rainy day, then this might be just like the whole
This would be a nice
feed
comfort.
your soul kind of thing. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
it's good nonetheless. Even though it's a warm day, it's still.
Yeah, the broth is so light that's nice. I like spicy food on a warm day. Where I like say I would go for this as opposed to chili. This had that lighter broth is easier for me on a hot day.
If it's one of the first booths you come to, it's not going to weigh you down as you continue around the World Showcase.
Exactly.
So a new addition, the Noodle Exchange, very promising dishes.
Winner?
Yeah.
All right. On to the next one.
Who knew it would be that good?
It is, I think, just absolutely insane that for, like I said, the noodles are some of the best bang for your buck at the entire
Huge.
At the entire World Showcase. And I know how delicious ours were, and I'm looking at the other noodle options there. I could literally eat my way down the menu there.
I think that a couple of our patrons messaged us about the noodle dishes at the Noodle Exchange and how we needed to get the ones that were like the beef ones. Sorry.
That's okay. And we
I'm dreaming of it.
And we not only had the slider from Earthy's, but we went back and got the chili as well.
We did. We didn't record any kind of hot take.
The
for
chili is absolutely fantastic as well. Yeah. So you can't go wrong. Check these places out when you're making your way around the 2021 Epcot Food and Wine Festival. I think you're going to be very happy.
Oh, so good.
But before we go on, we do want to take a moment to say thank you to all of our patrons. You guys and ladies out there are really helping support the show in a way that goes beyond the $2, $5, or $10 each month that you guys are donating.
Yes. At patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast, we have those 3 different levels that you mentioned. And your contributions have allowed us to deliver a better show in 2021 and into 2022. Is going to be some amazing stuff.
Yeah, we are making plans for a race calendar. We're making plans for format changes. We're making plans for additional patronage levels.
Yes, I know we've talked about that
we have,
over and over. But
we have lots of ideas. Now that our lives have settled down
a
little bit, we're getting there. We're bringing you guys more stuff. We're excited to get back out on the road and traveling and showing you places to accomplish, explore, and indulge. You guys are helping make it possible.
It's true. And patrons, when patrons first sign up, they get a special thank you message from us in the mail. Insiders at the highest level get a look behind the scenes, get access to exclusive video footage, have access to special interviews before they're released on the podcast feed, and more.
Look, the show itself is always going to be free. But if you want to help support the show and help get more of the content that you guys love, go to patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast and pick one of those 3 levels. Or for those of you using Podbean, tap the reward button at the top of the Podbean app to become a patron. All the same levels of patronage are right there. You don't ever have to leave the app.
As always, we want to thank everyone for all the ways you support the Run, Eat, Drink podcast.
Now listen, I'm wrapping up the 75 hard challenge.
Yes.
And
listen, I'm here with you.
I was saying that to the listeners, but it was difficult to bypass some of the amazing food that was there because the plant-based stuff was incredible. Don't get me wrong.
Delicious.
But I am a meat eater at heart, even though
I want the food from Canada we've covered on the show before. Looking at you, the mushroom and filet with the butter
and the beer cheese soup.
Oh
yes.
my God. Okay, sorry.
But in addition to the amazing food and the fact that there are meat-based dishes out there that I really, really want, there are incredible beverages and beers offered all around the World Showcase.
Beer and wine and mimosas and just, yes.
Mixed drinks, you name it.
Cocktail.
The chefs in the different pavilions have put together absolutely incredible stuff. Those beers that they selected from an astounding number of breweries.
Yeah.
They are really picking some fantastic craft beer, select wines, and
From all over.
and tasty cocktails.
Of course.
We, however, because Amy is being as supportive as she's being, she decided to forego those items.
Yes.
In spite of the fact, by the way, even if you're not into those things that we've just talked about, it doesn't have to be alcoholic. They have amazing alcoholic options.
Yes. They have great alcoholic options that we can't wait to get back to next year or in the future or at Flower and Garden Festival, any one of the festivals all year round at Epcot. But non-alcoholic options are becoming more and more plentiful as well.
And creative.
Or that we have just now noticed them being a part of this challenge, like in China. And I think that we had something in China like this.
The one that we had, I believe, had a lychee.
Okay.
Lychee.
I don't know. I butcher anything.
What they have this year?
The mango bubble milk tea, the Assam, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, black tea, whole milk, and mango syrup. We couldn't have it because it was milk-based. But
I'm a fan of boba tea, though. That's one of those things. It's a textural thing. I enjoy the tapioca pearls.
Yeah. It's strange and satisfying at the same time.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And every now and then, when I'm not on this challenge, I'll get one. It's just it's
apparently a thing amongst teenagers. It's like a trend.
It's picked up.
Yeah.
Oh yes, gained huge in popularity here.
Apparently.
But that's not all. They have a lot of other options too.
A strawberry smoothie at the donut box right there by Test Track. We've never been on Test Track. We rode Test Track and saw that.
Yeah, Donut Box is a relative newcomer to the Food and Wine Festival. I believe this is their second year.
Second year that I recall. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
maybe third.
Maybe third year, but they're a relative newcomer. And they also had something over at the Appleseed Orchard.
Yeah, now that, as far as I remember, was in that beautiful pavilion, like where Le Cellier is, and where I just can't go without thinking of La Fin du Monde and how much I want that at that beer cart with the popcorn and Moosehead, the celebratory beer. Rhonda Lee always says there are other beers up there that she can introduce us to. Shout out to Rhonda Lee. Mm-hmm. But Moosehead and all that, and I'm so sorry. The Appleseed Orchard right there at Le Cellier in that beautiful pavilion, had a couple of different options that were non-alcoholic. The Appleseed Orchard frozen apple pie, and then the cinnamon apple cider.
Yes.
And they're very plentiful, those options. So I'm interested in those Appleseed Orchard offerings. When we came by those booths, they were slammed. And I think that they had run out of almost everything at the Appleseed Orchard.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have, but it made for some disappointed park goers. Mm-hmm. So instead, we ended up getting our beverage.
Yes.
Over at Earth Eats.
We did.
And this is a spiced apple Twinnings brand chai tea.
Chai tea.
And they basically serve this one of two ways.
With whiskey.
And without.
And it's sweetened.
It is sweetened.
Yeah. And it's sweetened either way, but then there's a part with whiskey, and I really want that. But this version without the alcohol was quite flavorful. Cinnamon and sweetness. It was also very refreshing.
I'm a fan of chai.
Yeah.
Again,
it has a spice to it.
Yeah, it's a very seasonal thing.
Flavor that makes you think of holidays
or mulled wine.
Or that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's usually a combination of things like cinnamon, nutmeg, clove, or allspice. Mm-hmm. And then the tea, usually a black tea, and it's very warming.
Yes.
Especially if you make it hot. This particular mocktail drink.
Well, I guess the drink
is served iced, and then they give you a cinnamon stick.
Yes.
To stir it with.
Fancy.
It is very fancy.
Garnish.
Very simple, but delicious.
Yes.
And it was one of those things that sip on that with or without the whiskey and enjoy it very much. Although
I think so.
We did have the opportunity to meet up with Main Street Miles Meg, and she was kind enough to taste and evaluate the whiskey version.
She and her husband Brian gave their full review, said highly recommend, and we can't thank them enough for meeting up with us and celebrating. And shout out to both of them, Brian for the 10K and Meg for the challenge, doing the 10K and the half. And they're just amazing people. And we can't wait to have the whiskey-based version that you highly recommend.
Whether you're going to go alcoholic or non-alcoholic, ultimately there are plenty of options all around the World Showcase. And this is, of course, we're leaving out, of course, your standard fare, your sodas, water, coffee, and by the way, plenty of great coffee options from Joffrey's.
Oh, yeah.
All around.
For sure. And you know what I like, though? They have oat milk, they have almond milk, they have...
I don't know how recent that is.
I don't know, but they do.
It was nice that you had your option if you wanted to get a coffee from Joffrey's and maybe you're wanting to avoid lactose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can go with oat milk or almond milk, either one.
I really like the buttery quality of the oat milk.
Oh, for coffee, yeah, absolutely.
I like it a lot.
But anyway, the cider or the chai cider tea thing. Oh,
it reminds you of cider flavors.
I was going to say that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Right there, it screams apple cider, even though it did not have apple cider. So good
stuff.
It actually is, and that makes me want to go buy some from the store, which I think is the whole point. So good on you, Twinnings. Your marketing worked.
Your marketing and advertisement was a success in this house. Just wait. So.
All right.
That's it.
Next week, we are going to be talking about the 10K. We're going to be bringing you additional food and beverage from the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival 2021. In the meantime, we want to know about your accomplishments or the accomplishments of others that you want us to share. We mentioned this at the top of the show.
Yes.
Please shout out yourself or another member of the Runcation Nation or somebody you're wanting to invite into the Runcation Nation. What a great way to introduce them to the podcast. Say, you need to check these people out. They're talking about you.
Yeah. So Email us in written form or attach an audio file to the email at info@runeatdrink.net.
That's info@runeatdrink.net, or go old school. Call us and leave us a voicemail.
Yeah.
941-677-2733.
That's 941-677-2733.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
For joining us on your long run, your commute to work, around the house, or wherever you are. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm your co-host, Dana.
Stay safe and well, and we will accomplish, explore, and indulge with you really soon. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Run, Eat, Drink podcast. We're having another great year thanks to your support. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Run, Eat, Drink Podcast. And on Twitter, we're Run, Eat, Drink Pod. You can also give us a call at 941-677-2733 or send us an email at info@runeatdrink.net. Visit our website at runeatdrink.net and click on the subscribe link so you don't miss a minute. Find out how you can support the show at patreon.com/runeatdrinkpodcast. Accomplish, explore, and indulge right along with us. We'll talk to you next time.